video, we've got a new pistol in from EAA. This is the Girsan Witness 2311 Match X. Let's head over to the other bench, get it out of the box, and check it out. All right, we're over on the other bench, and let's talk about how nice this hard case is. So it's got latches on both sides. You got a place for 2 locks right here. Got a really nice carrying handle, and it is watertight. So we're going to go ahead and open up the latches and flip this open, and there it is. Now up here in the top portion of the lid, it does have an O-ring seal all the way around. Nice padding here in the top. And down here at the bottom, they did a really nice job cutting the foam in here for the 2 mags in the pistol, as you can see. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the pistol and set it off to the side. As you can see, it does come with 2 mags. We're going to talk about the mags here in a second. Then you can pull the foam insert out, and down here it does come with another recoil spring. This is for 124 grain bullets. We got a recoil takedown pin. I am going to show you how to use that. You have the owner's manual. It's just your basic Witness 2311 manual. It's all black and white. We do have the accuracy target with the shooter's name, the serial number on the gun, the date, and there's our offhand target. This was at 15 meters. Not bad at all. Then we have a card in here from Cosane Arms. They do a lot of customization work for EAA. And the last thing we have in here is the lock. Alright, now let's talk about the magazines. This does come with 2 mags. They are made by Checkmate. This is the 17 rounder. And it also comes with a Checkmate 20 round magazine. Alright, let's dive right into the Match X and get a few specs out of the way. Now, the Match X is part of the Witness 2311 series of guns. This is chambered in 9mm. It has an overall length of 8.75 inches, and the weight on this gun is 1.9 pounds. On the website, they state that the barrel is 5 inches, but we're going to deep dive into the barrel and talk about that here in a little bit. Now, like we've been doing in all the unboxing videos, we're just going to start here at the top and work our way down. Let's kick it off right here on the back. Now, this does have an adjustable rear target sight. This is the exact same sight that was on my Influencer X when we did the unboxing on that. You can't adjust the elevation. You can't adjust the windage. The rear sight is blacked out. The cool thing about this sight, if you see these 2 holes right here, you can remove those 2 screws, remove the rear target sight, and this is direct milled for any dot with the RMSC footprint, and we will be putting a dot on this at the end of the video so you can see what it looks like. Now, speaking of the sights, we'll move up here to the front, and as you can see, we have a fiber optic front sight. Now, we move out here to the front, and as you can see, you got this big single port comp. And what's cool about this is actually part of the barrel. This is all milled out of the same stock. And speaking of the comp and the barrel and even the frame here, you're probably starting to see a pattern with this X series of guns from EAA. We've already done the review on the Disruptor X. We've done the unboxing video and review on the Influencer X. But all the X series of guns have this tungsten and black 2-tone finish. One of the big things on this frame is an aluminum alloy frame. It's got that tungsten finish, and making this frame out of the aluminum alloy is one of the reasons they can get the price down so low on this Match X. Now, one of my favorite things about the Influencer X was the full-length dust cover, full-length rail, and we have that exact same setup here on the Match X. Now we'll move back here to the safety. The safety on this is ambi, and it's got a very nice positive click, nice feel, just like the Influencer X did. And over here you have your slide lock, slide release, whatever you want to call it. And it does have some really nice checkering here, just like it did on the Influencer X. And the last thing we'll talk about before we move on to the grip, this does have the skeletonized hammer. Alright, now we're going to move down to our grip, and this obviously is a polymer plastic grip. It's got some really nice texturing here, a little bit aggressive. Here on the front, you've got some really nice aggressive stippling here. You've got the same on the back, and on our grip safety, we've got some serrations right here. Now we move down to the magwell, and this has got a really nice big magwell on it. This magwell is also plastic, but I love the way this gun feels in my hand. The Influencer X felt great in my hand, and this is no different. Nice feeling gun. Alright, the last thing we're going to talk about before we tear this gun apart and talk about the fitment and the barrel and everything is the trigger. Now, EAA is stating that this trigger is tuned to 4.5 pounds. Now, spoiler alert, I've already had this gun out of the box, and I am not getting that 4.5 pound trigger pull, and that has seemed to be the case with a lot of these 1911s and 2311s that I've been doing reviews on from EAA. I'm always getting a little bit of a heavier trigger pull. Now, speaking of the trigger, even though it's heavy, this actually has a really nice trigger in it. That is all the take-up there is. And we got a really nice clean break. The reset on this is amazing. It's super short. It forces your finger back, forward. I couldn't be happier with the reset. Now, I do have the trigger pull gauge here. I already know what this trigger is pulling at, but I want to show you guys here on camera. So I've got the Wheeler trigger pull gauge. I'm going to put this right in the center of the trigger. And this is what I'm running into. I'm getting a trigger pull of 7.5 pounds. Now, I'm not going to pull the trigger again because I've used this trigger pull gauge on this gun 50 times, and I am getting a consistent 7.5 pound trigger pull. Now, once I get this gun out to the range in the next video for the review, I'm not even going to notice that 7.5 pound trigger pull just because of how nice the break is and the reset. But I do want to point that out in this video. Now, before you say, well, your trigger pull gauge is off, it is not off, because I know what my trigger pull is on my T-Size Night Stalker. It pulls at 5.5 to 6 pounds, and it is pulling consistently at that 5.5, 6 pounds. And my Rock Island Tac Ultra 9mm, 22 TCM, it's got a really nice 4 pound to 4.5 pound trigger in it, and it was pulling consistent. I sat on the bench for over an hour pulling the trigger on this and the T-Size Night Stalker and my Tac Ultra, and all the trigger pulls were consistent. So this 100% has a 7.5 pound trigger pull. Alright, now before we field strip this gun, we got to let YouTube know, and the YouTube censors that are watching this video, that we are not modifying this firearm. All I am doing is showing someone how to remove the slide and the barrel off of this Match X so they can clean their gun. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our slide right back there, and we're going to pull out on our takedown lever, and we're going to remove that, and then you are going to pull your slide forward. And while we have that apart, I'm going to show you what the inside of the frame looks like. Alright, this is what the inside of your slide looks like, and I am going to show you how to take this barrel out to clean this gun. And this is a little different than a lot of the 1911s you're used to. but it's pretty simple at the same time once you figure it out. So remember this recoil takedown pin I showed you at the beginning of the video? We're going to get this out of the bag. And as you can see, it's got this very small hook out here on the end. So what you're going to do is take your guide rod and recoil spring here, and you're going to push it forward. Now it's going to have quite a bit of tension on it, and there's a lot of oil on it. So, and if you look right here, you can see that there is a hole, and you are going to take this tool and you're going to stick it in there just like that. Now that is going to hold that in place. Now what you're going to do is swing this forward. You are going to pull your guide rod and spring back, and you're going to just kind of take it off to the side and remove it. Now you're going to leave this tool in here unless you really want to tear it down and clean the guide rod and spring separately, but leave the tool just like that. You're going to take your barrel, flip that down, push up, right here, push up, pull it forward, and remove the barrel. Now, if you remember back at the beginning of the video, I told you that EAA says this is a 5-inch barrel, and technically it is because this is all made out of the same piece of stock. But in reality, we're probably looking at about a 4 1/4 inch barrel because this comp is about 3/4 of an inch long. All right, now we're ready to reinstall the barrel and the guide rod and spring. So you're just going to flip this down, slide your barrel back into the slide. You're going to take your guide rod and spring, go back in from the front, tilt it off to the side. You're going to have to flip this back up. You're going to set that in there just like that. You're going to come forward with this, remove that tool, and release the pressure off of that spring. Kick that back down just like that. I like to keep my thumb on that spring. Slide that back on. You're going to rack it. You're going to grab your takedown lever. We're going to pull this all the way back. This is the easiest way for me to do it. Let it forward a little bit. Pull this back right to that slot. And it clicks right in. Now, before I go mount an optic and a light on this, I want to talk a little bit about the slide to frame fitment here. And this thing is very tight. There is really no slop in this whatsoever. No rattle. Really nice job they did on that. And I know we didn't really talk about the serrations on this, but you do have some really nice serrations here on the slide to grab a hold of if you choose not to use an optic. And up here in the front, you've got your ports milled into the slide, and you do have some serrations right here, and it makes a really nice place to grab from the front and rack the slide. The slide is very smooth, and really cannot complain at all about the fitment on this. All right, I'm going to go off camera. We're going to get an optic mounted on this. We're going to get a light on it, and then we'll go back over to the other bench and finish out this video. All right, I've got the Match X set up just how I want it to take to the range, and this worked out pretty good. Zolisi actually sent out their brand new green dot, the Z1G, and obviously it has the RMSC footprint. So I went ahead and put that on our Match X, and I can test out the green dot and the pistol at the same time. And I went ahead and put the Streamlight TLR1 HL out there on the rail. And I must say, I like how it looks. So stay tuned. In the next video, we will be taking this to the range for a full review.